back everybody, Max here. And so as you all know, the patch has finally dropped, and so I wanted to do a video just to go over, I'm tired of doing patch note review videos, but I wanted to go over the patch notes and discuss with you guys exactly what they actually have finally put in the patch. There's a lot of speculation as to what was going to be in it and what was not going to be in it, and so these are the actual official patch notes of exactly what made it into the game. Now, I'm not going to read them all because there is a ton of stuff. I will leave a link down in the description so that you can go and check out for yourself and read through stuff that may be more relevant to your own game style and all that fun stuff. But I will try and cover and go over some of the more juicy stuff that I think is relevant to everybody. That, of course, including the netcode stuff, which I know everybody is really keen to see. So, like I did a video before, I am going to briefly read through this stuff for you and pick out some of the highlights so that we can all indulge ourselves in the new juiciness that DICE have bestowed upon us. So, let's start with maps and modes. I'm going to read this straight off of the patch notes section. And they said they've changed the ticket count for domination to 200 to 100, so hopefully now people won't be seeing really ridiculously short games that only last like 3 minutes and all that kind of stuff. That's been a problem right from day one. So they've changed the ticket count for that. They fixed the missing game mode description for operations. Didn't know that was an issue, but there it is nonetheless. They've tweaked the scoring values for capturing flags in Conquest. Capturing gives less score now. However, more capture ticks have been added, and the team controlling more than 3 flags then the other team will be awarded Conquest control bonuses. So although they've reduced the number of points for capping a flag, if you hold more than 3 flags, then you will get a control bonus for that. They say they've decreased the percentage of contribution to flag capture neutralised from 50 to 30%. So again, you sitting on a flag, you're not going to take the flag over as fast as you used to in the past, all on your own solo style. Again, this is them trying to promote more, I guess, team play and all that kind of fun stuff. They added a join any operation button to the main operations screen. We'll start a matchmaking sessions to join any available operation at any size, 40 or 64. I know there's a lot of people out there that play operations that will be very happy to see this. And so maybe you can, now get a better game of operations and all that kind of fun stuff, and also get involved in operations and continue to play it rather than being kicked out of the server every single time it ended, which was becoming an absolute pain in the arse. Vehicles. They've tweaked the self-repair for the A7V, the FT17, the Saint Chamond and the Pierce Arrow. They've reduced the health gained per self-repair cycle from 320 to 200, that's huge. They've reduced the time taken to complete a self-repair cycle from 8 seconds to 5. So although they've reduced the self-repair cycle from 320 to 200, it will now happen even faster. This makes vehicles self-repair equivalent to the self-repair of the Mark V landship, they say. They have doubled the health of the field gun and stationary AAs. They've made the field gun stationary AA repairable. We knew this was coming. Field gun and stationary AA will now enter a stable state of 50% health where they will become unusable. And to use the weapons again, they must be repaired back to 100% with the repair tool. This is DICE attempting to get people to use the repair tool and giving you something within the game that is actually going to be worthwhile and warrant actually using that. Me personally, I don't think this is going to change a goddamn thing, but that's just my personal viewpoint. But nonetheless, there it is, it's in the game. They've increased the time that the shell camera is active on the Mark V mortar landship from 3.5 to 4.5 seconds, and this better suits the increased flight time of the new heavy shell. They've changed how the max range for AA is applied. Max range now varies depending on the pitch of the gun. Shells can travel a maximum horizontal distance of 300 meters and a maximum vertical distance of 450. So now, instead of it being one oval bubble across the top of the AA gun, you now get more of an elliptical shape to the gun. So rather than it shooting 450 meters in a horizontal straight line, it will only shoot to 300, but it will actually hit the maximum ceiling of the aircraft, which is 450 meters. Those of you that fly may or may not be happy with this. Me personally, it doesn't affect me, but I know there is a huge number of the community out there that do like to fly, and AA has obviously been backwards and forwards ever since it was introduced, being buffed and then nerfed and then nerfed and then buffed. So maybe this will help, maybe it won't, I don't know, we'll have to wait and see. They've extended the fighter and attack plane elevator flap scaling curves to better cover the entire speed range. They've reduced the cooldown of speed boost ability from 30 seconds to 15 seconds for both the dogfighter and the airship buster attack plane. They've set up a rear view on all the planes. I actually thought this was already in the game, but clearly not. Albatross, Fokker, Spad, Sopwith, Rumpler, Halberstadt, Salmon, Bristol, Gotha and the Caproni to activate hold the free look while in third person to use the rear view camera. I'm surprised that this was not already in the game, but like I say, I don't fly, and so therefore I don't know about this function, but I was surprised that that's not in there. Why would you not be able to look backwards? That's kind of weird. Attack plane changes. They've retuned attack plane elevator flap scaling curve. Attack plane turning will now be much closer to that of the fighters, but still slightly worse. I don't understand why you'd make an attack plane turn as fast as a fighter, but there we are, two different planes. But I guess being a former pilot myself, that really, I look at it from more of a characteristic of what you do in the real world against what you do in a game, so maybe that's just me. But anyway, improved underused attack plane variants. They've increased the damage of the airship buster variant's primary machine gun from 32 to 40, and this puts its AA DPS on par with the fighter MGs. With its speed boost active, the new flap scaling curves will allow this variant to achieve a higher turn rate than the fighter for a short period of time. The reduced cooldown on the speed boost will allow the advantage to be used more often. So basically you've got now a attack plane that's going to outturn a fighter. Again, kind of baffles me why that's a thing, but whatever. Increased velocity of the tank hunter from 37mm to 222 milliseconds to 267 milliseconds, and reduced its drag. This is weird. Reduced its drag from 0.005 to 0.003. These changes should make the 37mm slightly easier to land hits with, especially against moving or distant targets. That's a very poorly constructed sentence, but nonetheless, there it is. Basically a tank hunter buff, which is good. Right, moving down. Changes to the fighter plane variants. The dogfighter has added a new secondary weapon, incendiary ammo. Incendiary ammo does greatly increase damage to plane parts, allowing the dogfighter to quickly cripple an enemy plane by breaking a wing. Change the active ability from emergency to repair to speed boost. So now you get speed boost, not emergency repair. The bomber killer, they're trying to get you guys to use this plane. Change the active ability from speed boost to emergency repair. Swapping speed boost and emergency repair on the dogfighter and bomber killer should keep both variants in their respective roles. Speed boost gives the dogfighter a maneuverability edge over the other fighter variants, and emergency repair gives the bomber killer a better chance of surviving tail gun fire from bombers and attack planes. To increase the field gun damage against light vehicles, armoured cars will no longer take less damage than light tanks from field gun hits. I'm surprised that was in there in the first place. A shell is a shell is a shell. Very strange. But, okay, so there's a bunch of stuff about tanks, which, again, I don't want to make this video 30 hours long, so if you want to read the patch notes, I'll leave them down below. So I'm not going to go over and cover this, the patch notes for that. What I really want to do is get down to some of the more juicy stuff. So weapons, and let's do weapons and gadgets. Obviously, they've changed the bayonet charge, activated an aiming speed modifier during the prepare state, as well as a charge state. This means a player can rotate a maximum of 50 degrees during the prepare state, and also added an input modifier disabling strafe while charging. They've added a subtle boost to the third-person footsteps when the bayonet charge is activated to increase awareness, and they've boosted the volume of the enemy voice for bayonet charge when close to a player. So you should be able to hear them coming even sooner, although, as I've stated before, I didn't ever see the bayonet charges being too much of a problem. They've slightly reduced the maximum turn rate while charging. They've removed the damage reduction while in charge. I couldn't believe this was actually a thing anyway. Weapons will now hit charging players for normal damage. Why the hell that wasn't in the game, I do not know, but there we are. They fixed that. Not quite sure. Oh, it baffles me. Anyway, moving on. Fixed the bug where bipod audio could persist, then switching to secondary weapons. They've tweaked criteria for cross-class metal to require single-shot rifles. They've added a UI for grenade resupply, reduced the ocular size for the scope glint from 0.25 to 0.15 to hide it behind walls better. I don't know if anybody else has noticed, but certainly if you're using a sniper rifle, you can see the glint through buildings and all kinds of other stuff from way across the map, which of course is absolute garbage. I actually don't use the sniper variant of the gun, but that is a little bit extreme in terms of being able to see these guys. So they fixed that and they've toned it down, and they're trying to reduce that. So anybody that uses a sniper rifle with a scope should be pretty happy with that one. Now we're getting right into the juicy stuff. This is gameplay. They've added camera shake advanced gameplay option to adjust the amount of camera shake caused by explosions. Yes, yes, yes. Really excited for this one. So tired of my gun shaking all over the screen every time a grenade goes off on the other side of the map. So that will be reduced to 0. Added missing spotting animation when spotting a downed allied soldier as a medic with the medical syringe. And they've automatically show low on ammo icons on friendly soldiers. Personally, I think they should have this above the medic class as well, and maybe we'll see that change in the future. But that's certainly something that is all good, and I'm looking forward to getting involved with that. Controls, players using controllers can now do custom button stick mappings. I'm going to have to get into that and mess with my settings again, I guess, and fix the select operation button not properly appearing when using the joypad or on console. The UI interface, they've moved the ping widget to below the kill log. So now we'll be able to see it right there in the kill feed as to what exactly your ping is, rather than having to press a separate button on a different menu. Fixed an issue in the squad screen where the no squad would be automatically selected for player not part of a squad. The first squad in the list will now be selected by default. Also added support on PC for pressing the spacebar to join and leave a squad. I know the PC guys will be happy with that one. Skipping over the rest of it and moving right into the juice at the end of the video is, of course, the netcode. And what they've done is this. They've implemented per region threshold settings for server-side hit detection. They've increased it. It's now at 130 milliseconds for US and Europe, 200 milliseconds elsewhere. I really hope this makes a change for everybody that's been screaming for this. And this is the real big one. This is why everybody's been having spongy bullet detection. So they fixed their server-side hit registration interpolation. I'm not going to go into interpolation. If you want to know, by all means, leave a comment down below and I'll explain it in a different way and maybe in a different video. But they fixed the server-side interpolation. Leading shot only necessary by the margin above the threshold. So if you're above that 130, i.e. 150, you got to lead by 20 milliseconds. As I've stated before, this is a bullshit number. The ping numbers are variable and therefore it won't work like that, so that's ridiculous to even state that. Fixed latency display for server, which is also responsible for decision if to perform client or server side hit registration. That's a problem from both the Xbox side and their server tie-ups. Fix the input offsets for server side hit registration to match the client side, and again this all ties into spongy bullet detection. And they fixed the wrong hit indicator display when dying. So we all know when you die you get the funny little indicator pop up on the screen. So we should, with those changes to the netcode, you should see an improvement certainly in hit registration and all that kind of stuff. You guys out there that live outside of server range are still going to experience problems and stuff like that. Really sorry for that, guys, but there's not a great deal I can do about it. But maybe they'll work on that in the future. But you should get at least get a game that is now playable. I know a lot of you have complained that you can't even play the game in a region that you were before were able to use. So hopefully this will at least give you some form of game experience, which is better than the garbage that they dealt you after the spring patch. And there you have it, guys. That is the new spring patch. That is what's live. That is what's active. I have downloaded it. I will be uploading some gameplay later on today, detailing some of this stuff and showing you some different gameplays and all that kind of fun jazz. The video that you're watching in the background is actually taken from prior to the patch, and I did that deliberately. I wanted to see if there actually was a difference between the two, and so I will do another video later. In fact, I'll live stream this afternoon instead, and we'll have a look at it firsthand. We'll go over it together, and we'll see what happens from there. So that being said, thanks for watching. Appreciate it. Hope it's filled in some of the blanks. Hope you're happy with the patch, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. All right, ta-da.